But yeah, so I suppose look, we're getting a lot of questions from a lot of the people, white label partners, clients and other bits and pieces. I think it'd be really good for us, and obviously we've put a list down, so I think it'd be really good for us to go through some of these questions and
I agree.
sort of answer. So let me throw out the first one, which I really like as a question. Which was, how can a white label partner make money through My Property Group? So,
oh my word! I'm going to try and do this really quickly, but there are so many ways, and this is the point. It's just anything there. You've got your own white label that has all the properties on there to be able to source. You can bring properties, so we can list it on everybody else's white labels, which makes them 50% of that sourcing fee, both ends. You've got the brokerage, which is going to give you kickbacks for anybody that uses or refinances any financing possible. Lettings, you've got £100 just for any single property that gets brought to lettings. You've got the refurbishment and maintenance. We will give you part of the project management fee as well for any of the deals that we get through on that help as well, let alone all the other products that are on there. We've got kickbacks for doing solicitors, company setup, anything that's on there. There will be a referral amount coming through because we don't pay for leads. And that's the whole point, is that it comes back and it gets paid for on success. And then the one that everybody forgets is, if you've got a friendly sourcer that doesn't know about us, you put them in touch with us and you will make, for the time being, and this is still until we get to a certain amount of white labels, you'll make 10% of whatever we make from that white label that joins, or that sourcer.
Which I think, I think that's insanely good value, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
It's everyone's incentivized and, everybody gets paid, and it's a nice thank you.
Yeah, I think that leads into the second question that people wanted to have on this podcast, which is, how does a white label sourcer work with the My Property Group and the team?
Yeah, so I suppose, so ultimately it's a partnership, right? So we all have our roles to fulfill within that relationship. So what we ultimately do initially is, once they've got themselves signed up, we'll create their website, we get that all set up. We'll help give them a steer if they need any ideas on marketing or emails, if they need a CRM. Yeah. So we'll give them the information they need to be able to get themselves set up if they don't already have this. The biggest thing we also have is we have a WhatsApp group, which the white label partner will be connected, obviously, with the team, and any questions they have, anything they need to know, they can get all of their questions answered literally within there. So anytime they've got any client saying, hey, can you tell me about this property? They'll say, look, let me go find out from the seller. They go ask the team then comes back with a response. So
we've got the webinars now as well, the people who can come on and ask questions. But inevitably, they have their own, they have an account manager, which will always be there. But they can then relate them to, depending on what product they need, that individual person that needs to relate to it.
Exactly.
But, it's all at hand.
Yeah, so basically they get full support, right? They get everything they need, and they get, we're doing sort of once a fortnight, we're just meeting up for a couple of drinks and a chit chat. The idea is to run, events throughout the year as well. So, there's a lot of touch points, a lot of communication, and a lot of help and support, because for me, ultimately, the white label success is our success, right? So we have a vested interest in making sure they make as much money and have as much fun as possible. Because the more that they have, obviously, the more that we...
I agree. I think people don't get that, is we want them to do more deals, get more successful, because the more success they have, it's a partnership.
Exactly.
We're incentivized.
Exactly. So, I will gladly teach as much as I can and unload as much knowledge as I have to try and make sure that white label is successful as possible, because the more successful they are, ultimately, the more successful we all are. Yeah.
So... I love this one. It's about viewings, actually, and how we do it across
this is definitely one for you, I think.
Country. Yeah, so viewing properties, obviously, it's tough to do them all, throughout the whole of the UK. So we do some, as many as we can beforehand, and that'll actually be team from the My Property Listing guys going out and checking properties. But actually, as soon as a white label or any investor reserves a deal, at that point, we like to make sure that we know that property, all the DD is done.
Yep.
And that's actually at the time, because we might have had someone view it 6 months ago and things can change. So actually at that point, we will do a viewing for whether that investor is international or local. Yeah. We will do it. Obviously they can get there if they want, but actually we will sort all of that out.
Yeah, and of course, with that, we do the full walkthrough video,
Yep.
we do a full written quote. So the buyer ultimately has all the information they need at hand to make the decision. And as you say, if they want to turn up, they're more than welcome to. We will never say no to somebody coming to take a look at the property.
Yeah, but I think you just hit the nail on the head there. Actually, instead of actually saying that they need to turn up, we've done it in a way so they don't have to.
Yeah.
Well, you can have a FaceTime video call at the property, so you don't actually have to travel thousands of miles and go and see it. But inevitably, we're giving them a walkthrough. We'll try and do floor plans, things like that, if we think it needs it, depending on the type of property.
Yep.
Quote, maintenance, any refurb. So it gives you a full analysis of looking at, if I buy this property, what am I getting involved into? You know, what do I need to do, and over the next 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you think the only reason you view a property is to understand how much work's needed and, is it in, good condition? And we supply that information. So, obviously it's down to the buyer off the back of that.
This is one for you. How do I secure a property for my buyer?
I really like that one. So basically how we've got everything set up on the white label website is whenever any of your clients or your buyers log in onto the website the very first time and they register, you get given their their details, their name, their phone number and stuff. So you have that to be able to engage, create communication, have conversations with them. But once they've done that, they have the ability to go through, look at all the analytics and all the information of every property. And within that section where they're looking at all the information for the property, if they say yes, they want their property, all they have to do is click on reserve. Right, little reservation button. They click that, nice little pop-up, explains the fees and structure. They have disclaimers and everything on the site as needed. But it then explains to them, look, if they pay their fully refundable deposit or reservation fee, so we've got it set as £100. Obviously, that's subject to change at any time. But that £100 basically means that we know they're a serious buyer. They're not there just to go view properties. There's a lot of people who know this industry very well. There's a lot of people who just want to go look at properties because they're curious, right? They love the homes under the hammer life.
But they can make an offer. That's the whole point. This is what people don't understand, is that, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yep.
But I'm not going to tell you that every single buyer or vendor or landlord is going to accept, a cheeky offer or everything else. Well, we have had some silly offers that we always have to put some forward, but we will say to them, it's just not going to get accepted.
Yeah.
But, what we do want to hope that people understand is that, if they, at any point they go, oh, do you know what? I'd buy that for 70,000, even if it's only on for 75. Make an offer. Have a go. Tell us.
That's it. And the beauty is, as soon as they reserve their property, it comes off of all of the white label sites simultaneously. So it's their property, and they have that secured for at least a couple of weeks till the viewing and everything's done, and they can make their ultimate decision at that point. And if they don't want it,
Exactly. And we talk about it from the seller's point of view and why a landlord would want to see that. For us, it tells that if I'm a landlord, I've put the property on there, I've had someone that's made an offer and reserved it. They've put money down. That I know they're serious, so I'm going to take them seriously.
Yep.
So I'm more likely to willingly negotiate on that property and figure out, because that person has said, actually, I'm here, I'm ready, not just I'm seeing 7 properties on Saturday and I might buy one.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think that's what people need to understand, is the reservation fee is there, not just as a barrier, it's actually to say, hey, Mr. Seller, I'm here, I'm serious. And I think that's what people forget.
Right.
Actually, one for you as well on this. I really like this. If I already have a website, how do I get set up, and what's the differences between the full and the part packages?
Perfect. Yeah. So basically, with how we've structured the white label, we've essentially got 2 different versions of the site. Right, so you've got what we call the full site and we've got what we call the sub-site. So the full site is somebody doesn't have a website, we go build them an entire website, and it basically runs off of the same template we operate on, but it's their branding, their logo.
So it gives them internet presence and everything else.
It gives them everything they need. They can, of course, go away, get SEO done, so search engine optimization, all those bits, run the marketing to the site, do whatever they need to do, but it's a business in a box, and it's done literally within a few days.
And we can actually help them with all of those elements if they want to upgrade into marketing and showing them how to bring people into that website and create their data.
If they want more leads, they want more traffic, they want more information. So we can help with all of that. Right, so that's the first piece. Now, if somebody, however, goes, look, actually, I have an internet presence. I have my website. I like what it looks like. I don't want to change that. We can create what we call a subdomain, which essentially is we're just creating simply another page on their website that feeds off into our technology, but it's under their branding, their domain. Everything. So it looks like just another page on their site, and all they've done is added a button that when they click, it then moves over to another page that looks like the rest of their pages, but has all of the listings available on there. So it means that irrespective of whether you have your own site or whether you don't, we can help you get set up very, very quickly so you can get out there, start to help your people buy investments and, really get your name and your presence out there.
That's why any white label anybody that's out there, that's why we've got people in construction that have got all of their past projects and then have a button for looking for your next deal.
Yeah.
You can call that button anything you like. Obviously, it's better to call it a marketplace or at least so that they undersell properties or something. But yeah, I agree. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So obviously we're in a lot of sectors. So we're working with mortgage brokers, lettings agents, builders, engineers. So such varying sectors for what we do. So yeah, whatever it is, we can help.
Next one. Thick one.
So this for me is most certainly more in line with your sort of your bag, which is, someone asked, what if I'm better at finding stock rather than selling dealers?
Oh.
How can we work together? So,
yeah, good. Obviously, we'd love to say that we have 50% of our white labels doing one side and 50% doing another side. Obviously, we need both. White labels bringing landlords and bringing investment. So we do have some really good ones that, if you have a seller and you may not think that you're an agency, that's what we are. We are your estate agent behind the scenes. Yeah. So we are that, we're with all the governing bodies, we do all of the AML, we do all of the title checks. So therefore we can sign T's and C's, whether that's branded in your branding or ours. That all depends on the framework agreements we've got in place and, the certain checks. But the point is, if you find anybody that needs to sell or thinks you need to sell, you just need to get them in touch with us. That's it. And we can then do all of that legwork. And I guarantee we can help.
Perfect.
And even if it's that they don't sell, we will help them get into management and you will make money. Best way.
Perfect. Easy money, right?
Yeah.
So following question, what areas do you cover? So again, this is you, right? You manage stock. So
I suppose I always worry about with what people call areas. So geographically, anywhere in the UK. For the time being, we will go international, and I know people keep asking us, "Can we list this? Can we list that?" But at the moment, definitely until 2025, it's UK only, and that is what I call the PRS sector, which is the private rented sector. So what that really means is, if someone lives in it, whether they're a commercial tenant or whatever, that's what we look at. We do some commercial mixed use sites at a bit of land if it has planning or anything else, but we're not really into a warehouse or that type of stock. So I talk about what areas is more products. So it's buy-to-lets, HMOs, it's commercial subletting style ones, and that does include housing associations. It includes some rent-to-rent style ones, but we don't do the rent-to-rent in that respect, but it's more on the commercial side if there's more corporate tenants. Yep. Blocks, PBSA style stuff, student accommodation, and that's it.
Wonderful. And I suppose the next one again, which sits very nicely with you considering, the side you are, which is, what fees do we charge on the sell side and how does that work?
Yeah, so on the seller, we've tried to be aligned ourselves like most estate agents. I get it. If you go into certain areas, there'll be different averages and percentages. But in all honesty, we charge 2% plus VAT and we have a minimum fee of £2,000. However, if it's the right property and we know, and that could be the motivation of the seller or anything else, we are negotiable and we will negotiate that if we think it's right. However, we've had someone that said, well, it's an 80 grand property in the north and they only wanted 80k for it and we thought it was worth 70. So therefore they were wondering why we didn't list it and we didn't want their business. It's because we do all of that analysis. So we don't just say yes to everything. But yeah, fees wise, that always is 50-50 of whatever we get signed up will be for that white label.
Perfect.
Oh God, this is one for the white labels for you. How much is the best white label partner earning?
So I suppose
it's
a bit of a loaded question. So obviously, as of today, the best white label partner is earning about 20 to 25 grand a month.
Yeah.
Which for me is it's good going, and it's not a massive team, it's not a huge saucer. This is one of the questions that comes up a lot. Someone going, oh well, reasonably, how much can I expect to make? It's only me and my wife, or me and my partner. And this is a husband and wife team, and they're making 20, 25 grand on the sales they're doing, and it's good. They're doing a good job, and they run it professionally. They put the time and effort in. But yeah, I mean, the revenue potential is huge.
Well, I think it's actually the more the businesses we've pulled together, the more that they will actually make. So next month and the 2 months later on, it'll be far easier to beat that.
Yep.
And I think this is what people don't. I actually prefer to think about what some of the white labels are the least they're making. And I think if they actually put buyers through, they should be making, a couple of £100 for doing nothing, just by pushing people through that don't know anything about property. So you go from that extreme to people that wanting to do it as a day job.
Yeah, perfect. So if someone's becoming a white label and they need their own branding and logos and stuff, how do we go about helping them out with that?
I don't know, actually. I'm going to throw that question right back to you, because that is not my bag. If I'm ready to become a white label partner and I don't have my own branding, logos, or anything else, what can I do?
So, I mean, obviously we've got our own design and development team on in-house, so we can definitely help with that. You've also got like Logo AI or Logo.ai, and you've got loads of different technologies you can use to go and create free logos, free designs. You can change the color schemes and branding, and that's all completely free. You can speak to our in-house team. They can set up a logo for you. They can custom build and design. They can go through creating your color palette so that you've got your entire design palette for colors and, your branding and everything for your site. So we can sort of take care of that if you want us to. But yeah, I mean, most people, what they do is they just go onto a Logo AI and, throw together a logo. They go, I really like the look of that one. And that's what they go with, because the beauty is we can change this any time.
Exactly. They can change it at any point. I think last question to wrap up this podcast, but do I get any training as a white label partner? 100%.
Absolutely. So as we said previously on one of our other podcasts, your success is our success. For me, the more the more knowledge we can impart on you, the more efficient and better we can make you at being able to help people buy their investment properties, the more beneficial it is for everyone.
Yeah, and I think there's something to come, isn't it? We're actually documenting far more than we used to be able to put that together within a school, to be able to do training, whether it's you just want to have all of the access to all of it to hand, or whether it's one-to-one training. We are about to put on some of that. We're not doing the whole coaching that everybody else used to do and charge thousands and thousands of pounds, but we do believe that some people need different layers and different levels of kind of or expect different types of training.
So obviously we've got the base training, that gives you the insights in terms of how to sell certain things, how white label works, how the business works, how sourcing processes work, how sales general work. So we've got all of that training, and that's obviously fully available and readily accessible to all white label partners. Yeah. But it's the next piece that, so we're in the midst of recording and should have out hopefully very soon at the time of this podcast, a whole array, I think it's about 250 different videos on essentially everything you need to know on property, A to Z, top to bottom, all the way from your basics through understanding what's different strategies, selecting areas, how to buy, how the processes work, how the legals work, so understanding full end to end. So it's like a mentorship in a box, and this is the training that we used to charge like a lot of money for, and this is going to be readily available, and we're going to be doing it. It'll be running through a platform called School, and essentially we're going to be doing it really cheap for all the white label partners, because for us, the more the white label knows, the more versed they are, the more they understand about the industry, the more credible they are, and the easier it is for them to be able to help their friends, their colleagues, their network, their buyers to transact and buy properties, and therefore making us all, win. So, the buyer wins, the seller wins, the white label wins, and we win because ultimately, because of where we sit. So, yeah, in terms of training, yes, absolutely. And, we're always there to support. We run the live events, we've got the meet for drinks, we run the webinars, so for Q&A. So any sort of knowledge, any gaps that you have and you want to know and you want to learn more, absolutely, we're 100% there to support.
So yeah, I wanted to introduce us to the My Property Group podcast, which will hopefully be out first of the month, every month, without fail, which is going to go through. And we'll be talking about where we've come from, what we've done, what the My Property Group is, as well as some training, isn't that right?
Yeah. So also understanding exactly, what white label is, what the businesses are, but much more importantly, how we can help property professionals to start to make more money, create better revenues, work better with their customers, professionalizing the sourcing industry, and essentially starting to help people learn more, understand more, and just have a lot more fun within the property space, learning from our mistakes, right? We'd be lying if we said we didn't make a few, but it's the ability for people to tune in and get an opportunity to not have to make those mistakes themselves.
I think it's also to know what they've got to hand as well. I think that's the point. The My Property Group has all of those expertise that when you make an error or you don't know something, there is someone there at hand. I think people don't know. I think, this is August 2024 and we've already got over 24 employees in a way, and that doesn't even go from that point of view. It's the partnerships and everything else within some of those businesses. As I said, we've got 40 build teams and everything else, so the expertise are there. It's just about finding out who to go to. And I think that's where these podcasts will lead, is for people to have information, and I think as well we'll get people to ask questions and everything else. But thanks for listening to My Property Group podcast as well, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, hopefully see you then. Thanks, guys.